thank you for joining us tonight for our Here at First interview with Shanetta. She is our most recent graduate of our Purpose Preparation coaching program, and I am so excited. I got
Yay!
hallelujah hands, yes. Going on right now. I'm so excited for her and where she's going and her growth over this past 6 months, and it's just been exciting to see unfold through this time. So I am going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to dive right into my questions for you. All right. So Shanetta, what made you say yes to coaching?
Okay, so I prepared notes, but I'm going to try to just tell you now since I prepared them. Because I was thinking about that, and you and I have sort of talked about it before, but I was tired of myself, and I started because my life changed so drastically in what I felt was a short amount of time. I was, dealing with the change, and then I kind of got to a place where it was like, whew, I got through that a little bit, and then I thought, but I'm not moving, I'm not doing anything. I'm supposed to be doing something. What am I supposed to be doing? Mm-hmm. And God was talking to me quite a bit. And I was watching you and kind of following your journey, and I kept thinking, that's interesting, and I kept going back and looking, and so finally I said, you know what, why not? I can, if nothing else, the self-examination I thought would be good for me, and it was an opportunity for me to just move ahead. That's really what I wanted to do, is move ahead.
Yeah.
So no matter what happened, it was just that I was now going to do something. So I started a new job, and I started school, and then that wasn't enough, evidently. And then I said, no, I think it's time. It's time now.
Yeah, it was time. So when you actually started the coaching, and just becoming more aware, like through the worksheets, which is, the first lessons is mastering the power of habits for change. And so you went through like spiritual awareness and the self-awareness. How was it like becoming more aware of like your own thoughts and actions and how your routine really was versus what you may have thought it was?
Certainly eye-opening. I think, we talked a lot about awareness. That's just it. Once you know that you are, in my case, wasting time, or not being productive, once you realize that, I remember one of your very first questions was, so maybe not the first question, but one of the first questions was, so what's your relationship like with God? And, if my answer was, well, once you start, kind of hemming and hawing, and you don't really have a good answer, and it's not a confident answer, that was for me, that was awareness. Like, okay, so stop. This is the step forward now to do something about that. I had known that, but not done anything about it. I knew that I didn't know that I had more time in my day, but I quickly learned that, okay, I don't know what I've been doing, but I could do many more things than I was doing. And so that level of awareness, also just me as a person, like my personality, and, some things that for a long time I didn't like about myself, or I felt like was a problem with me. I quickly began to realize it's not a problem. It's just, it is. Who you are, you can accept that. Mm-hmm. And I even learned that some of the things that I thought were a problem actually are not, and they are things that can help me and help other people. So that awareness is that's good confidence right there, to realize that, some of the stuff that I thought was an issue wasn't, and then things that maybe I didn't realize as an issue, I thought, okay, all right, I see what I'm doing. You're right. Yes, I did that.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely don't have any issues with saying,
Yeah, right.
So how was it being held accountable for the Bible study during this time of trying to shift into what God needed you to be?
I think of course, accountability is good for me. I knew that I liked structure, even though I sometimes didn't put it on myself. I know that I work best in structure. So having to do it, at first it was okay, well, got to do this because it's homework and I got to get it done. And then it did change to, what time is it? I didn't do this yet. I need to get on, I don't, what am I doing? Why did I miss? because it changed my day. The Bible study and the journaling and the aha moments changed my day so much, especially when I did it first thing in the morning. That if I didn't do it in the morning for some reason, which I tried always to do it in the morning, that's just for me, it wasn't the same. It became this kind of, yeah, something's not right, something's off. And so I did better to do it in the morning, and that was important. Actually, today, in preparation for this, I went back to the journal and was just flipping through, looking at some of what I wrote and what I had highlighted and all of that. And that's pretty cool for me to look back and say, oh, I remember this. Oh yeah, to remember some of the points. And it's exciting. It is exciting to do that.
Yeah. So what were some of your aha moments in the beginning? Because you came in for like that self-examination initially for that kind of
right.
So how was that with the Bible study and of course the worksheets? But what were some of your aha moments initially?
I think I'm going to look at my notes now for that one because I had two good ones. I think one thing that you and I talked about a lot was like knowing versus believing. And that could be tricky, right? Because some people might say, well, people say all the time, do you know God? And so, that sounds like the right thing, right? Is to know him. And that is true. But, there's a level of knowing, I think, that you and I discussed. And so it's knowing as in I heard of him. And, like, people who you've seen and their name. That's not the same as knowing their heart, knowing what they value, knowing what they think about other people. So knowing what Jesus thinks about me, or what God thinks about me, or what he wants for me, or who he made me to be, that knowing is different. And then to believe that, I think that was an aha for me to realize that, okay, so I knew it, right? Because I've gone to church and I've had all the lessons as a child, and as a young adult, but did I believe it really? Because I'm not acting like I believe it. And I don't even treat myself like I do. So if I'm not treating myself like that, then it's likely that I'm not treating other people like that either, or at least I don't see them that way. So that was an aha to realize that, okay, I know, but do I really know? And I think the Bible reading, I know for a fact that the Bible reading, and getting to know Jesus in that way, Jesus's heart for me, his love for me, that was a major change. I was looking back today and I got to, because I started with, New Testament, and I was looking kind of at the beginning. I got to about Matthew 14, where I had written something about Jesus, he wants mercy and not sacrifice, or mercy more than sacrifice. And I had written to myself then, and it remains, right, that what about mercy for yourself? What about mercy for other people? We kind of, and I'm the guilty one of making a list of all the things I did, but did I have that level of mercy for myself and for other people? So that was an aha for me. And people are all along the scale as to whether they know or whether they believe, right? So that was one pretty significant one, I think, that moved me ahead a bit. And this one is sort of related. One time we were talking about gifts and talents, and I was kind of expressing a little bit of doubt, like, yeah, Kendra, I hear what you're saying. Yeah, someone else has told me that, but I don't know if that's valuable. That's really what I was saying, is I'm not sure if what you're saying I have, do people need that? Because a lot of people got that. And so, and then, okay, so what if I do something with it and hasn't that been done, I guess, is what I was concerned about. And which sounds like a gimmick, and that's not what I wanted. But you said something like, yeah, but the gift keeps on giving, like the gift doesn't stop giving. And, that might sound like a slogan or a cliche, but in that moment when you said it, it was not, it was, okay. So immediately I knew, okay, the gift could be, in that sentence, Jesus continues to give, but the gift could also be, if I have a gift that is mine, that God gave me, then it will always be the appropriate, action or the appropriate need, or it will fill the need at that time. So that for me was like a big, and I remember writing that down and going back to it like, okay, that gift, all right. And I remember saying to you that day, okay. All right, I don't have anything else to say about it.
I surrender.
That's right. All right. So yeah, that was a big one for me.
Yeah, I felt like Shanetta, no, like I need you to see.
Right, right.
But I'm saying, but it was great to see you over the weeks start to acknowledge it more and not be scared of it as well
Yeah,
as to how you would operate in it. So that was
yeah,
not only a blessing for yourself, but for me to see you shed that doubt and come into the
right.
courage of it. So when we got into the place where you were starting to understand your gifts better and we're going through like that time management piece and when we got to the target audience.
Yes, yes.
How was that experience? Because we all have to know like who we're ministering to, but we don't really think about it in that way once we actually know our gifts and where God is leading us. So how was
Right.
it going over those?
I told you that I have always kept things separate. Like, what I do for work, though I don't use those skills at church. I don't know. For me, I don't know why I thought that. I don't believe that anymore. But I always saw them as separate. So looking at the target audience kind of felt like that to me. And I didn't argue and say I want to do it. I found it interesting because it's research and it was fun to do that. But at first I thought, I don't know how this right here will help me, to speak better to my audience. From a ministry standpoint. So it was interesting to, because I picked my age group, I picked Generation X, and I felt pretty confident that I knew all about them because that's me. Um, Even though I was trying to get some self-examination, but when I started to research, it was about half and half. Like I did know a lot about Generation X, and there was a lot of, yeah, oh yes, that's true. Oh yeah, we are like that. Then there was a lot of, I didn't realize that. And in part, I think the best part for me, because after a while, of course, that kind of research, you start seeing the same stuff in different places. But one of the best parts for me was the kind of the second step of the research was to actually talk to people. And then first I kind of sent, I'm gonna just say like a questionnaire. And then
Yeah, you try to do it the easy way.
right, which is not what you told me to do. I was gonna say you didn't say do it that way. But so I did the research and then I was supposed to talk to people and I was like, well, I'm just gonna send a couple texts. And that was okay. But it did not get at, and I learned quickly that it wasn't gonna get at what I wanted to get at because I needed a conversation to explain, first of all, what are you doing? Why do you want to know this information? So a little bit about that with a couple people. And then I got some interesting information after that. And it kind of shifted. I would say it pretty much shifted what my thought process was about the ministry. Not how I will deliver, but what I will deliver, I guess is what I'm saying, which is the point. But some of what I learned, when I first came back to you, I thought, well, this makes no sense. I don't see how this is going to connect. And then I quickly learned that, I had to, I need to kind of look under and realize that why are these people giving you this response? And the why of that response is more toward the Bible teaching or the ministry piece.
Yeah, and how did that help you to like really shape like what to say and how to say and how to help? Because pretty much everything that you need is there.
Yeah.
Just conversations that you want to have.
Yeah. And from an unlikely source in a way, because I did try to vary who I talked to. And when I say vary, I mean in terms of, background and experiences and even beliefs. And some of the best information came from people who are still very still struggling with their faith, which makes totally makes sense to me now. But at the time, I just didn't expect to get such rich information from those sources.
Yeah, because in a sense they were like you, although like you believe in Jesus, like you said before, just a few minutes ago. Well, but I thought this, but did I really believe it in my heart?
Right.
Is it really settling in? And then you end up having those same kind of thoughts with other people as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So then we went on to the leadership modules.
Yes.
Touch on that a little bit as to how you could actually bring your own leadership and even your own gifts as a teacher to your ministry. So tell us about some of the insights and what you gained during those leadership modules.
It's so funny because at the beginning, I was talking about the fact that I learned some things about myself that I thought were, or I thought some things about myself that I thought were negative, not useful. And then I learned that, oh, well, this is actually okay, that, that I have this personality. But some of the things in the leadership model indicated some areas where, like, yeah, you're a little bit, I mean, for lack of a better word, you're a little bit too easy, too much, a little bit of a pushover. It's not going to be, people can say whatever they want, and there will be no, steering people back to whatever the topic is or whatever the subject is, unless I kind of come to it from a different standpoint. So I forget the name of the leadership style that basically was like, roll over me. I don't know. That wasn't the name of it, but it was something like that.
Right.
Yeah. So you just
hands off approach.
Yeah. Somebody say something, you say, okay, that's good, Right. And so I realized when you started reading the I took the little battery, and then you started reading it back to me, and I was laughing because I thought, yep, I've done that a lot. To avoid conflict and that kind of thing, which was also something that we talked about. And then we talked about, what do you do? How do you handle a conflict in a situation where you're talking about something as dynamic as the Bible? What do you say back to people? And how do you get how do you steer the conversation so that you still end up giving or presenting the message that is the message God sent you to give? And again, I have done that in many classrooms, and I always thought, well, that's not the same thing as teaching the Bible, so I won't do that over here, And I've made them separate. And so you kind of helped me see that, no, it's actually, if God gave you a message and that's what you have come to present and share, you go with that. You still go with that. Yeah. So yeah, the leadership, that part of it was interesting. That was kind of more of a challenge one for me. And I think one of my more positive ones was like collaboration and, getting information from others and that kind of thing, and using that information. So I did know that about myself. So it was good to kind of say, oh, well, good. At least I know how to do that.
Right. It wasn't all bad. It wasn't all
right.
So how did that even help your daily routine? Because by that time you were already studying your Bible each week and like getting like meaty Bible studies and understanding your gifts, understanding your audience. So how did that change your routine as a whole? Now understanding yourself better and shedding some of those self-confidence and lack of worthiness things off of you as you're about to walk into what God is showing you.
I mean, how? Just I guess it's like the extent is so large that I don't even know if I can articulate it. But I know that in terms of changes, I mean, you can't go back and unsee, right? What you now know. You cannot go back now and say, oh, well, I don't know, if I'm good at this or that. It's kind of silly because I now know better. And so at work, at home with my children, with my friends, I shared a couple of instances with you where things that I would have let go or conversations that I would have just not even spoken up about, I just couldn't hold. I just said, no, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about this. So it really changed the dynamics with the children, at work with the colleagues, also at work with the students, and private, personal relationships, same thing. All of a sudden it's like, it's okay to say it. It's not that, the confidence to do it and not, I don't have to feel bad about it afterwards. I wasn't rude. I just shared with you this. And I could never get there before. Before it was always like, if I did do it, I felt terrible about it afterwards. And I felt like I had to explain or, kind of push it back a little bit, smooth it over a little bit more. And so it definitely changed that. And in small ways too, like speaking up, even looking at myself, I'm going to just admit, even looking at myself on this camera, even that has changed, because I'm now like, you know what, that's what the camera, that's it, that's what's here. So let me just, and be okay with it, and that's okay, right? And I remember you saying one good point that I have remembered is, we're talking about the Bible study or whatever, like when we set a schedule for the day and we don't get everything done. And oh man, the way I would beat myself up about not being, like we used to say, 100%. And then, you were saying, well, 40 is better than a 0. So go on and do 40 and let that be what it is for the day. And then tomorrow you'll try to get up to 60 or whatever. And that seems like a simple concept, but for me, I guess with the perfectionism and the lack of self-worth, I couldn't
Mhm.
shake that. For me, it was, I said I would do all these things and I didn't get to do them. So what's wrong with you? I'm in my head. And so it changed that because I have heard myself say it to other people now. Like, you know
Mhm.
what? 40 is better than zero. I'll take it,
Mhm.
and that's mercy for me, but that's also mercy for the other person,
Right.
to say, I'm not worried about that. You didn't finish. Okay, fine.
Mhm.
you know,
Let's keep it moving.
um, yeah. And it's less stress. Physically, I'm talking about just, physiologically, it's less stress. It's on the body and everything. So those kinds of changes, getting more done. It's funny because I don't think that having started school before, I started school in January, and then you and I started in March, I think.
Mhm.
Um, I'm not sure I would have been able to do my schoolwork if I hadn't changed like my schedule, because I
Mhm.
had so much to do.
Mhm.
And I'm still involved in church ministries, and I still have children and work, and I'm not sure I would have gotten it all done. So that's a major change for me.
Yeah, because a lot of times we think like once we put a schedule together, like it's gonna show like everything crazy and
Right.
then it shows like no, I actually have time to have more time than I actually thought I had uh,
Yeah.
my day. That kind of goes back to like your daily wins. So for all of you out there, each week when we come together, like the first thing I ask is not like what went wrong, but what were your weekly wins? Like where did you gain strength? So how
Yes.
to help you through the process.
Oh, that's so important. Like, sometimes if the week was really bad, I would be thinking, on the day that we were supposed to meet, I would be thinking, I got to let me think of some wins here, because she's going to ask me about these wins. And I could always come up with something because
Mhm.
there were always wins.
Mhm.
But if the week was bad, or I won't say bad, but stressful or full, sometimes I didn't think that I could come up with something. But now it's, again, something I'm saying to other people, like, so let's talk about your wins for today. Just as a way to, because, and everybody wants to do that. I mean, even
Mhm.
if they're pouting, I work with
Mhm.
children. So even if they're mad, if I shift it to, so it's 11 a.m. and you've been here since 7:30. What are your wins? And then you got to say something, right?
Yeah.
So it's that's important to realize that there are always wins. Yes, there is trouble. Yes, there are things happening. Um, I mean, in the last 2 weeks, I have had major messy mess. And I just had to keep saying, you know what? Nope, just keep on walking. Just got to keep on
Yes.
walking. The winds are here. The winds are coming.
Yes.
And every day, and this is honest, God showed me something or sent me somebody or
Mhm.
something every single day that all this has been happening the last 2 weeks. That I just knew in the moment that it happened that, okay, okay,
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, every day something. And that was true before, but my mindset would not have let me realize it
Mhm.
before. Like, it was always happening. I know that. I know God's always been here, but I was not setting myself up to stop and say, "Oh God, I thank you so much that you
Mhm.
sent that I ran into this person today, or that somebody sent an email that said I did a good job to my boss, or I mean, just those little bitty things." And
Yeah.
I would have had them happen, or I did have them happen, and I would not have acknowledged that I'm so grateful that my day had that in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hallelujah. I love
that's good. That's good, right?
it.
That's good.
Yes, yes, yes. So in the coming worksheets after that, um, which was you're coming out, like you getting like your ministry colors and getting your
Yeah,
testimony together and getting like all of your social media content, because for all of you out there, when you do the coaching with me, you get 6 months worth of like content of how to speak to people and what to say and just how to come out and to establish yourself. So how was that process?
you know, I enjoyed it actually. It is scary, although I have written a testimony before. This was different now, right? Because I was writing it having done all of the coaching up to now. And I told you when I avoided the assignment, and waited to the last minute, and which I can do. I do that sometimes. And then I thought, I've got to get this done. And I think I was awful. I was off from work or something. I had a day. Oh, I tell you when it was. It was my birthday, because I was off
Mhm.
that day. And I purposely said, I'm going to take the day off. This day is for me and God. I'm going to study my Bible and do all this stuff. And I was going to sit down and do this testimony. And I don't even remember how long I was there. I typed and typed and typed and typed, and I couldn't stop. And I typed things that I had never said. Actually, I don't even, some of it I'm sure you and I had not discussed. Maybe a little bit of it, but not the full. So that part was therapeutic, if you want to say that, because I was able to just put it down and reread it, and I thought, that's not bad. I'm okay with that. Like, you know how sometimes you think, if I put that in words and put it on the paper, is that okay?
Right.
But after I reread it, I thought, yep, that's it. That's what happened, and so I was okay with that. And then the step of creating the content, like making the videos, I told you I was not not feeling it. I knew it was coming, but I didn't want to do it. And I postponed that until I had this huge pimple on my face and I had to do it. So I just went on. I thought, oh, well, and I had to do it that way. But I did the first one, full, and looked back, and then broke it down like we talked about. And it was easy. It actually wasn't that hard once I did. I didn't do several takes. We had talked about not trying to, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can mess up. You can have to repeat a word. You can laugh at yourself, whatever. And I just did them. And I don't know, like, at least for that first section, about 13 videos, just for that first part. Yeah. And that's just testimony. And I did. And actually, I would not have been able to do this before. I went back and looked at them, and I didn't look at myself and pick out every eyebrow hair that wasn't in the right. I didn't do any of that. My lipstick was wrong. Look at my teeth. I would have done all of that. I just listened. I just listened to myself, just like I would be listening to someone else. And it was good. It was good. And I thought, yes, that's a compelling story. Good job. Yeah.
So do you feel like it really prepared you, because it's not like, okay, well, I have this ministry, but like what to do, like what's next? Like, how do I do it? How do you feel like it prepared you for, like, just the goals that you would have going into it?
I definitely think that it prepared me because I needed the time to work through, for me, because my issue was mainly around confidence and self-worth. I needed the time to study the Bible, in a more structured way. We talked about the Bible weekly. What did I see? What did I notice? How can I use that in my ministry? And all those conversations mattered, because that's how I learn, is by talking. So it's one thing for me to have studied the Bible, which I've done many, many times prior to this, but having those conversations about how it applies, and just, even if I said I reread the same verse, Kendra, over and over again and cried or whatever it was, that's okay, right? But I think that was all necessary in the preparation to get me to the place where I was not afraid to tell the story, and that I was not afraid to watch myself back on the video, and not also, although you and I haven't really gone through the content with you. I feel confident now, if I sent you a video and said, all right, Kendra, look at this, tell me what you think. In the past, it would have killed me for you to say, that's not going to work. But now I'm like, no, you need to tell me. It's not going to work. You need to tell me. So, right. I mean, I needed all of that self-examination and all of the Bible study, which of course you cannot stop doing ever. But also the time to kind of, I don't know, it's like kind of grow myself up into the ability to say, oh, you can do this. This is a part of it, right? It's for you to tell people who you are, what you've experienced, how that relates to what you want to do in ministry. And I didn't know any of that. I mean, I just didn't. So I needed to do the preparation in order to know, okay, this is the parts of the testimony that I should tell. You can't tell everything. This is the parts that I should tell. These are the things that I'm going to pull out later and share, this struggle, So I needed all that to get ready to share it out. And even down to, like, I don't know, the colors and what they mean, and, value systems, all of that for me, it gives me language to talk to other people, but also to talk to myself, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So that I know how to, how to work it and how to go forward and decide. It also, and this has been true before I started coaching, but more so, before I started with you, but more so now, there's all these other ideas that God is giving, and I may not have recognized them as God's voice prior. I would have just been like, I don't know why I'm thinking about taking kids on trips and traveling, and that's, I'm never gonna get to do that. Like, I would have been, trying to talk myself out of it.
Right.
And now I'm like, no, I think that's come up a couple times, God. So okay. Yeah, it just keeps on. And see, that's part of it too, is that it kept coming up. So now the ministry, as it is still being formed, maybe this one thing, but there's some other things that I'm like, oh, eventually it's going to have to go to this. Eventually I'll have to add that, because I already see that those are things that they've been inside, and I have had them come up, and then I've just said, no, that's not me. I can't do that. Or I'm not smart enough to do that, or I'm whatever lies I was telling myself about it. Now I'm like, okay, well, I better start writing this down. So I can remember what I'm supposed to be doing next.
Yes. Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. And tell us what your ministry is unfolding into at this point.
Yeah. At this point it is, and it's funny again, because I was preparing myself. I was thinking about the reason why I picked what I picked, or why I was thinking about doing really just like I'm just, for lack of a better word tonight, say a round table. Let's just call it that. But it's really just a dialogue. And I don't mean just, I shouldn't say just. It's a dialogue around the Bible. So whatever we decide, whatever topic we say, and then we're, studying the Bible around a particular theme, or using whatever scripture or book or verses that we study to help us to live in the world, whether it be work, with kids, with parents, with whoever. I really want, it must for me be a dialogue, one, because I have to talk. I can't learn it if I don't talk about it. And two, because of my collaborative leadership style, I really like to, I want to hear what other people have to say. So I want to be able to have a dialogue around the Bible, around scripture, around a book of the Bible. And yes, application is important, and of course application to life, but the Bible first. I mean, what is it about this book, this chapter? What is God trying to tell us about this? And so that's the shape right now. Is a dialogue. And it is shaping up to address issues that women have, and women in the Generation X, right? And so some of those interviews got me to realize that we have some issues that we can talk about.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can help them with.
Yes. And thinking about in particular, one of the things that came out that was really strong was about the distractions that people have.
Yes.
And that's everybody's age group, of course, but the distractions that we already knew about God, but did we believe him for the times that when we face the distraction, so we can stop looking at the distraction and get back on God, so that really came out strong. And actually in the last 24 hours, I was having a conversation with somebody who was saying, that's a distraction. And I said, yep, it is. And they were telling me, you distracted, you need to stop. I said, okay, you're right, you got me.
Yes.
Yeah. So big around the idea of, we may know or have some Bible knowledge, but do we believe that what God's word says is true, and that's how we're going to sustain and overcome the distractions?
Yes. So who was God to you before coaching, and who is God to you now?
Before, because I did go to church as a child, and I guess people say that, but it's pretty typical, right? Yes. I went, I knew, I could give you some stories, and so he was an acquaintance of sorts. I had moved over a little bit because of some challenges in my life to getting to know God better before coaching, but he was still I still felt him to be at times, this is gonna sound funny, unaccessible. Like he wasn't my friend then. I better not say this to God, which is ridiculous, right? Because he already knows it. Right. But that was my thinking. And And so now it is, and I have been saying this too more to my children, and they think I'm crazy. That no, you really can just talk to God. And I didn't do that I didn't do that before. I mean, you really can just, he is your friend. You really can just say, because he already knows anyway. And you really can call on him. And I have had to learn, I mean, literally every second of the day. You know, when it's hot and things are happening, I'm breathing them in. And, you know, we've been talking about that a little bit at my church and Bible study, but I really have been like, let me just breathe it in and realize that, you know, this is all I got. This is what it is. And so even working with the children in Bible study, we've been talking about truth and trust. We've recently been talking about trust, and it's all connected, right? That the trust that I had before was God was over there, you know, not that he owed me anything, but that he's over here and, you know, I'll get around to it. But now it's no, I gotta, nope, right here. Here we are. Here he is right here. Yeah, every second. And if I forget, because I will, or if I lose my way, or if I get distracted, I think that's what the dialogue is all about.
Right.
You know, because the talking keeps us reminded and keeps our brains in a place where you're like, let me go back to that one thought. If I can't remember anything else, I just hold that one little thing in my head and I'll just keep saying it. The gift will keep on giving. The gift will keep on giving until I can get myself to the next thing.
Yes.
And I have to do that. So I know that, you know, that's something I can remind other people to do and encourage other people to do.
Yes. I love that. The gift will keep on giving.
Yeah.
Right back on track.
Yes.
It is a 360 from where you were prior, because, you know, like, as you said, with like some of that lack of confidence and like nitpicking yourself and all of that, to be in a place where like you really have dive deep with God to the point where it's like, this is who I am, this is who he is, and now he's actually feeling me in a way that I never have, so it allows me to just move forward in who I am and what I have, and I'm good. Yes,
and it does change the way I see other people, which is you know, I've heard that, but not, I guess I had not experienced before that level of, if I know that's true and I feel it and I'm operating in that, and that's my action every day, all the time, then when I'm encountering other people, then I have to give them that same. I want them to feel like I feel about God,
right?
You know, and so I'm going to make sure that I'm doing that to them or with them, or using that. My words need to speak to that as much as possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you have anything else that you want to say that you haven't said, or
let me just go back over my paper here. I don't think so. I'm just messing. I do want to say that I intended to do this when we started, just to say thank you to you. But I was nervous and I forgot to say that, you know, I know that people will say, oh man, you know, you are so whatever, and you do such a good job. You're so committed, but no, really, thank you for, you know, being in your purpose to the point that you could, you know, coach other people to do it. Also, and I know you know this about yourself, but because you were so like, you know, committed is not the word I want to use. You are committed, but it's just, you know, and it's not relentless. That's a little too far. It's more like just, you know, and since you know, you're so sure about it that, you know, whatever I'm saying, when I'm like, I don't know, and then, you know, you can just, okay, well, let me ask you this. And the next question is like, oh, okay, you're right. So I appreciate your ability to, you know, give it to me straight. And I will tell you this too, this is a change. And I have shared this with you when we were coaching, when you were talking to me. I used to cry about everything all the time. You know, that was just what I did. I'm not sure why, bless my heart. But I even think this part has helped me with that. It's not that like that's something that I said that to you 6 months ago, I would have been on here like, and I don't know why. I'm not sure, but it's something about the peace and the rest that, I mean, I can just tell you, I thank you so much for, you know, your purpose, helping me to self-examine and to get to a better, whatever forward direction I take now, you know, I definitely have advanced. And so I appreciate it.
Yes, you're welcome, you know, and thank you for entrusting me with the process.
Yes.
because of course you can choose anybody, but you chose me. So I for going through the process and being consistent with the process and growing and just it's just every week it was always something that put you to the next stage, phase of who God was showing you are, and you actually believing it. So thank you for answering God's call.
Yes, yeah.
To go through it.
We did it.
Yes, we did it. We did it. For any of you, before we go, if you have any questions for Shanetta or a comment for Shanetta, you can go ahead and do that now. I'll give you a second to unmute your mic, but if not, we will close out in just a moment.
Okay.
And thank you.
This is Cece, and I just want to say, Shanetta, congratulations. That is so exciting. You know, when you were talking about just, being more assertive of yourself. And, sometimes I find myself not being assertive enough because, you don't want to hurt someone's feelings or whatever, because it's just my personality. But, even talking with Kendra, I've had to say, okay, you need to be a big girl. Put your big girl pants on. Sometimes, when I'm working with clients and different things like that. So I give you a big thumbs up. Congratulations on your next chapter in your life and your ministry and your self-confidence, and that's exciting.
It is. Thank you. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
And Melinda said, I'm in the car, so I'll keep it short, but just want to say congratulations. God bless you as you continue to step forward.
Thank you. Thanks, Melinda.
Yes. But thank you everybody for joining us that were here on Zoom, and those of you that are in virtual land, because you may see this anywhere. 20 years from now, and it may give you some encouragement if we're here. So joining us, for those that want to come into the coaching that I have, which is purpose preparation coaching, turning your testimony, releasing your past wounds, turning your testimony into your ministry, and answering God's call. I will leave a link in the stream. Of course, I have my academy that will be reopening in January. So get your coins ready if you want to join the academy. And for those of you that want to do one-on-one coaching, you can visit me at my website, Kendra-Dublin. But again, I will have the link down there as well for you to get in contact with me. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you again, Shanetta, for answering God's call. And we will see you in the next interview.
All right. Thank you.